Welcome to week 13 of my self-important Magic the Gathering show. Before we get on with this week's stuff, an update from last week. Last week, was Simic. So in the Nikanzil deck, I put in an Arrest of the Endless Web. It would have been down here if it was still in the deck. But after I closed out the episode, I remembered that this card existed. I saw it when looking through the EDH rec stuff. Like, remember when I was like, oh, Panharmonicon, that totally goes in the deck. But then, I didn't read this card. My eyes just kind of glazed over it. But I went back and went, oh, yeah, totally. I should put this in the deck. So we took out Arrest of the Endless Web. Arrest is still a good card, but we had, 27 creatures anyway. So now we're down to 26. 27 including the Commander. Yeah, so that was just a little update from last week. Now we can move on. Rakdos, that is the color combination of black and red. This is another combination I really like. So our first commander is Xantcha, Sleeper Agent. This is probably one of my favorite characters in all of Magic the Gathering. She is a Phyrexian Sleeper Agent. Though she gets abandoned by Phyrexia, and this is old Phyrexia. This is Yawgmoth's Phyrexia, back when Urza was still around as well. She gets abandoned by the Phyrexians for being a defective sleeper agent, I guess. And Urza basically adopts her and then later lets her die because he's not a good person and doesn't value anything except for defeating Yawgmoth. And even he messed that up. So, and after Xantcha died, I guess he valued her a little bit because he kept her Power Stone heart. Because Phyrexians have Power Stones in place of hearts, because they're all magic cyborg things. And that's how Karn came into existence. The heart that powers him is her heart. And I would trade Karn to get Xantcha back. Anyway, Xantcha is a black and a red for a 5/5 Phyrexian minion. That is a lot of stats for not a lot of mana. Xantcha, Sleeper Agent, enters the battlefield under the control of an opponent of your choice. Okay, so it's a 5/5 that we don't get. Xantcha attacks each combat if able, so she's goaded without the goad word, and can't attack its owner, that's us, or Planeswalker its owner's controls. That's still us. So, we give someone a 5/5 and they can never attack us with it. Oh, it's better than Goad because Goad, you can still be attacked by something goaded if there's no other enemies. So, Xantcha will just, if it's just one-on-one, Xantcha will just sit on their board doing nothing. And then it has an activated ability of 3 generic. Xantcha's controller loses 2 life, and you draw a card. Any player may activate this ability. That's kind of like the sleeper agent, her advanced sleeper agent effect. Everybody else gets card draw. Sorry, I'm leaning forward to scratch a foot. The foot is mine. I don't know why I said a foot. So that's kind of neat. We're giving everyone card draw. The player we give Xantcha to can still use it. It's just that they're the one losing life. And then because it's her again in the art, we have before she was famous, Sleeper Agent, 1 black for a 3/3. That's still a lot of stats. When Sleeper Agent comes into play, target opponent gains control of it. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, Sleeper Agent deals 2 damage to you. So that's the regular Sleeper Agent ability. It just says minion here, but this card was made before Phyrexian was codified as a type. It should say Phyrexian minion, not minion Phyrexian, but whatever. It was reprinted. You know what? It's 70 more cents, but I do like the old border for this better. 10th edition. Oh, the PLST version of 10th edition, whatever that means. But let's switch to that. And go to Xantcha. I don't think she... Oh, she does have alternate versions. For $75 we get... Oh, that's right, she was reprinted in Mystery Booster too. Oh, that... I mean, I know it's a $75 card, but that does make me happy. Then I guess the Japanese Secret Lair. That's interesting. What is this from? Commander Masters? And then for $14 we have this other Secret Lair, which is still like really neat. I'm sorry, that looks like the art from, because I think she was also in, oh, what's the word? Starts with a V. Vanguard. I think she had a Vanguard card, which was like before Commander existed, like this weird thing where you had this card that affected your starting life total, your starting hand size, and like you had this ability on the card that you could do during the game. It was very weird. I like Vanguard, but I admit most of the Vanguard cards were awful. Let's see. $2.99, $2.99. Oh, the PLST version of... Oh, Commander 18. PZ2, I don't know what that means. We're gonna... Oh, man. We're gonna use that version, because I do like the art. Doesn't really matter much. And then we have our 37 lanes. It's the usual suspects, but, you know, just in red and black. Let's switch our command tower, though. That's always fun. BRO. What was the... Yeah, we'll use the Brothers War command tower. Because she did pal around with Urza for a while. Not that he appreciated it, I don't think. Her ability doesn't really give us a direction to go, so this is just probably going to be some generic Rakdos fun. Rakdos is kind of where the ambition of black and the passion of red intersect, if we're being generous, or the selfishness of black and the unbridled rage of red, if we're being less nice. I meant to say that earlier, but I messed up my sentences. The first three cards are my favorite red card, Browbeat. It says draw, but it's not really a draw card. It's 2 in red for a sorcery. Any player may have Browbeat deal 5 damage to him or her. If no one does, target player draws 3 cards. It says it's a draw spell, but considering this is Commander, someone will probably be like, I'll take the 5 life just to deny you cards. Then we're going to do Dash Hopes. Now, I said that counter spells were generally disallowed in my playgroup because we don't like them just on principle, but I like this one. It's 2 black. It says counter target spell, but much like Browbeat, that's probably not the thing that's going to happen. When you play Dash Hopes, any player may pay 5 life. If a player does, counter Dash Hopes. So Browbeat is 3 mana, 5 damage. Dash Hope is 2 mana, 5 damage. That's what we're looking at. Not super efficient of Browbeat if you compare them, but maybe someone will allow their spell to be countered. I mean, if they allow their spell to be countered, either they have really low life, or you misjudged how important the spell they're trying to cast was. Browbeat, it's just really a matter of how much they want to deny you card draw. There's one more card for this section of my brain. Temporal. You probably already knew what was coming if just by going by the other ones. Whoops, that is the wrong card. Temporal. There. Extortion. Correctly put in the burn category. Oh, things are being a little laggy, but that's probably... Really? Hold on. There we go. That's probably pressing too many buttons. Now, Temporal Extortion is 4 solid black. When you play Temporal Extortion, any player may pay half his or her life rounded up if a player does counter Temporal Extortion. Take an extra turn after this one. I mentioned before, extra turn spells are generally frowned upon in my player group. You know, we play fair magic, gall darn it. Aggressively fair. But this, more often, like, people is like, okay. Like, towards the beginning of the game, turn 4 is the best time to play this card. If you somehow manage to get 4 black pips. Because then they're like, oh, do I really want to pay 20 life to keep you from taking an extra turn? And of course, at that point, the extra turn isn't really worth anything, is it? Boy, yeah, I'm feeling kind of hyper today. Again. It's probably because the heat's keeping me from sleeping, and I'm doing something that I know I shouldn't be doing, and I'm kind of caffeinating to stay awake, because I gotta do errands today later when the sun comes up. Anyway, that's the kind of general theme of the deck. Oh, this was me looking for my lands. Scroll to top. Let's see. It's for any player. Okay, what does Book Burning do? Unless a player has Book Burning deal 6 damage to him or her, put the 6... No, that does mill. Like, I know we say the mill, like with the other ones, that the mill is the least likely thing to happen, like the card draw and the countering and the extra turn. But, like, this goes a little over the top. Brain Gorgers, an opponent can sacrifice a creature to counter this, and it also has Madness. That's interesting, something we can come back for if we play any other, like, Madness stuff. Any player may have Breaking Point, deal 6 damage to him or her. If no one does, this is a board wipe. No. No, that's one I'm sure I kind of don't want to have countered. And also we want this is something we'd only want to play if Xantcha isn't on the field. Attacks or blocks? Nope. Attacks or blocks. Carrying Worm and Carrying Rats are the same thing. They can remove... Oh, they're bribing your creature with stuff from their graveyard. That's pretty cool. Deadly Designs. Put a plot counter on Deadly Designs. Any player may activate this ability. When there are 5 or more plot counters on Deadly Designs, sacrifice it. If you do, destroy up to 2 target creatures. No. I do feel like I need to slow down my talking. Return target creature card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. Any player may do this as a sorcery. That's interesting. Fan favorite. Oh, this has assist. Oh, the flailing cards. Anybody can pay to make it bigger or pay to make it smaller. That's mildly interesting. Okay, that's... Land's Edge is a fun card. Any player may discard a card from his or her hand at any time. That's actually really good with Madness, isn't it? That's a thing to think about. Like, if we want to go the Madness route and we want to discard our own stuff. Lethal Vapors. A player... whenever a creature comes into play, destroy it. Destroy Lethal Vapors. You skip your next turn. Any player can play this ability. That's interesting. Lightning Storm deals X damage to target creature play, where X is 3 plus the number of charge counters on it. Discard a land card. Put 2 charge counters on Lightning Storm. You may choose a new target for it. That's mildly interesting. A game to play with excess lands. But I don't think that's on the menu. At the end of each player's turn, put a charge counter on mana cash for each untapped land that player controls. That's interesting already. Remove a charge counter from mana cash. Add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Any player may play this ability, but only during their own turn before the end phase. Huh. That is very interesting. But that was definitely back when mana burn was a thing. There's that one creature, Thragtusk? No, that's not right. The Jund one that brings back mana burn. This card goes in that deck, I think. That's super interesting. I'll have to remember that. Nakaya Shade. You can pay black to give it +1/+1 until end of turn, but another player can pay 2 to say no. That's kind of amusing. Even if none of these go into this deck, I love looking at these cards. You can other players can discard a card to make Una's Prowler smaller. Let's see, Phantasmagorian. It costs 7. When you play Phantasmagorian, any player may discard 3 cards. If that player does, we counter this. But then we can also discard 3 cards to return from our graveyard to our hand. Huh. Like, hand attack is generally frowned upon. Boy, and this is just a 6/6. People might not even do that. But I like the discard 3 cards, because maybe that'll lead into the, like, madness thing that we were thinking about. If we wanted Land's Edge, and then we go up here for madness. Just kind of as a, like, as the side thing that we're doing. I don't hate it. Prowling Pangolin. Oh, did they? All printings. Because I think Pangolin got creature typed. There we go. Yep. It's still a beast. It's funny that Pangolin is a creature type. I don't hate it. It's just weird. Oh. An opponent can sacrifice 2 creatures to counter it. Rhystic Study was part of a cycle, everybody, that even had a land. Rhystic Tutor, unless any player pays 2, you search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. We're not putting the Rhystic cards in, but I forgot about that. Although I guess it's not a full cycle since there isn't a red one. And then add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool unless another player pays 1. If you didn't know those existed, now you know, and you get to... Hopefully your heart is filled with joy knowing they exist now. Raiding Party, you may not be the target of spells or effects. Sacrifice an orc to destroy all planes. No, we're not dealing with that. Scandalmonger. Target player discards a card from his or her hand. Any player may do that on their own turn. We're not doing hand attacks. Shivan Wumpus. When Shivan Wumpus comes into play, any player may sacrifice a land. Oh, but then this goes on top of our library. That's brutal since we're probably not going to have a whole lot of card draw. But they are sacrificing a land for that. Yes. Soul Strings. Return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand unless any player pays X. Task Mage Assembly. When there are no creatures in play, sacrifice Task Mage Assembly. Pay 2 generic. Task Mage Assembly deals 1 damage to target creature. Any player may place this ability on their own turn. Nah. Volrath's Dungeon. Any player may pay 5 life during his or her turn to destroy Volrath's Dungeon. So this is 4 mana for 5 damage, or 5 lost life. That also reminds me that there's probably some other cards that you already know are probably going to make in this deck. Things that multiply life loss or damage. Choose and discard a card. Target player chooses a card into their hand and puts it on the top of his or her library. Play this as a sorcery. Oh, I kind of like that, because like I'm not making you discard per se. I'm messing with your draw step. Someone might say that's the same thing, but they can also just pay 5 life to get rid of it. But I'm discarding to my Madness. So Madness is going in this deck. Bloodletter of Aclazotz and similar, and Wound Reflection are going in this deck. And anything that's like those cards. Destroy Wall of Vapors and target creature it's blocking. Any player may play this ability. Huh. Nah. Warmonger. Warmonger deals 1 damage to each creature without flying, and any player may play this ability. Oh, Well of Knowledge. Any player may pay 2 during their draw phase to draw a card. They can do this as many times as they want. No thanks. That's too much helping other people. Worms of the Earth. That is from the Dark. No new land may be brought into play. During any player's upkeep, any player may destroy Worms of the Earth by sacrificing 2 lands or taking 5 damage from Worms of the Earth. That feels like mass land denial, so we're not doing that. Zarappa Minotaur. Loses first strike. Any player may play that ability. Okay. There are other cards in this vein, but I think they are Opponent May? I think that's, if I spelled opponent correctly. Nope. It doesn't find the card I'm looking for, but I'm going to read this anyway. During your upkeep, sacrifice 2 swamps. So we already ain't doing that. If you cannot, tap it, and target opponent may gain control of target creature of his or her choice you control. Huh. And then they lose control of it when this leads play. And then we can also tap this to gain control of a creature. Okay. Yeah, no. There's a specific card I'm looking for. But I don't remember the wording on it. I know how much mana it costs, at least. It's a 1 mana creature. You might know who I'm talking about or thinking of. Let's see. 4 damage. At least I hope it was 4 damage. What am I thinking? Vexing Devil. Any opponent may. There we go. So it was still any. Any opponent may. So we have Vexing Devil. When this creature enters, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to them. If they do, this creature gets immediately sacrificed. When Longhorn Firebeast comes into play, any opponent may have it deal 5 damage to them. Yep. Basically, the idea behind all this is that we're getting It's like, do I get this creature for long term, or are you willing to take this short term? You know, do you want this short term negative to prevent my long term stuff having? Sin Prodder, I think, is kind of in the same vein. At the beginning of our upkeep, reveal the top card of our library. Any opponent may have you put that card into your graveyard. If a player does, Sin Prodder deals damage to that player equal to that card's converted mana value. Otherwise, you put it into your hand. So either we draw cards or they take damage, depending on the mana value of what it is that we found. Desecration Room? Oh, Desecration Room. Jeez. I was overcomplicating that in my head. At the beginning of each combat, any opponent may sacrifice a creature of their choice. If a player does, tap this creature and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a flying 6/6 for 4, but people can sacrifice stuff to keep it from attacking. Innocent Traveler. At the beginning of our upkeep, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If no one does, transform Innocent Traveler. And it transforms into Malicious Invader. Which isn't... it's a flying 3/3 that may be a 5/3 if an opponent has a human. We're still putting that in the deck. Like, we're not too good for that. Clackbridge Troll. It gives an opponent 3 goats, because it's, you know, Billy Goat's Gruff story. So when it enters, it has Trample Haste. It's an 8/8 for 5. Target opponent gets 3 white goats. At the beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If that player does, we tap the troll, we gain 3 life and draw a card. So, you know, we either get to attack with an 8/8 or draw a card and gain some life. So that's good too. In my brain, I just thought of another good card for all of this. Oh, monkey farts. Oh no. What was it? Oh, no, it was in my brain. But I wanted to get through everything on this page first. No. No. Oh. Was it something related to Sin Prodder? Wonder if there's an unopponent may. Oh yeah, duh. How about target? Oh, Palantir of Orthonac, that's good. What is Braid's Frightful Return? Oh, Braid's. Yeah, the one where we have to sacrifice stuff. Oh, I feel like I'm about to remember that thing that I forgot. You may sacrifice you do, and now each opponent discards a card. I'm already done with that. Gravestorm, notably, doesn't have the Gravestorm ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent may remove a card from his or her graveyard from the game. If that player doesn't, you may draw a card. Well, that's interesting, but I don't think that's the way we want to go. Risk Factor. Oh, Risk Factor is Browbeat again, only not as good, and it has Jumpstart, which makes it slightly better because we can discard a card. Okay, Risk Factor. Combustible Gearhulk. When Combustible Gearhulk enters, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If that player doesn't, you mill 3 cards, then Combustible Gearhulk deals damage to that player equal to the total mana value of those cards. Not a fan. Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. Non-land, non-token, I like that. See, and what I like is that these are all May. So what's funny is that I said yes to this, but no to this. So, Share Combustible Gear Hulk. Which not. I just realized it's not. We're not exactly filling our deck with the best cards here. How about an each opponent? Excuse me again. But Braid's Origin Nightmare. We're probably going to want a bunch of stuff in play for that to be remotely good. Was that the thing I was thinking about and then got mad at myself for forgetting? I'm so much further removed from my own forgetfulness. Tempt with Vengeance. Create X/1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste. Each opponent may also do that. And then if they do that, we get to do it again for each one who does. We're not going to do the tempts because I don't think my opponents are... they really shouldn't. Whenever... no. Osseous Stick Twister? That is a weird name. Lifelink Delirium. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent may sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Then Osseous Stick Twister deals damage equal to its power to each opponent who didn't sacrifice a permanent or discard a card. Sure, why not? Zoyowa Lava Tongue. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, that's you descended if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere. Each opponent may discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. This does 3 damage to anyone who doesn't. Sure, why not? Again, I like this idea of this deck does stuff based on opponent's decisions, the exact opposite of how you're supposed to play Magic. If you ever listen to the Command Zone and hear Josh Lakewhy go on about you don't want to give your opponents choices, well, we're giving our opponents all the choices, as many choices as I can give them. Tempt with Mayhem, is that... I don't like the X ones, but choose target instant or sorcery spell. Each opponent may copy that spell. And then you get a copy plus an additional copy for each time it was copied. No. Boldweir Heavyweights. When Boldweir Heavyweights comes into play, each opponent may search his or her library for a creature card and put it into play. No, that is giving too much value away. Trample Echo 0? Oh... If we pay the Echo, each opponent draws up to 3 cards. Or they may. Okay, nope. Tempting Contract, that's treasure tokens. Tempt with Immortality. Return stuff from the graveyard to the battlefield. Professor Onyx, what does Professor Onyx do? Professor Onyx and Xantcha in the same story, that'd be cool as heck. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery... Oh, okay. Man, I don't remember what I was doing. But what are we at? We're at 61. Oh, by the way, Land's Edge had more text in it. Any player may choose and discard a card from his or her hand at any time. If a player discards a land, Land's Edge deals 2 damage to target player of that player's choice. I built the deck around that card way back in the day. It had Land's Edge, Orcish Artillery, I believe was the card back in the day, where it did 2 damage to any target and 3 damage to you, or itself, or something. It was like my protection from black Pestilence deck, only it was protection from red. But this was before Pyrohemia existed. Man, I'm still... Okay, so let's look for this card. So Bloodletter, if an opponent would lose life during our turn, they lose twice that much life instead. And then Wound Reef. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Yep, we want that. These are expensive cards, so we're definitely going to... Oh, we haven't put in our ramp yet, because we went straight into it. Just adjusting how I am sitting. I really need to move this garbage. I shouldn't be mean to this chair. It's old and worn out, but I shouldn't call it garbage. It's served me well until it stopped being in good condition. Let's see. Fiery Emancipation, because sometimes it's damage, sometimes it's loss of life. City on fire. That damage instead. We should just do this. Disparate Gambit, Fire and Prepare, Goblin Charbelcher. If a creature you control, no, we don't want that. We can do the Twin Flame Tyrant. Source you control. Source you control. Oh, that's what I was looking at. Creature you control. That's why I didn't put it in. Interesting that Fiery Emancipation isn't on this page. F-I-E-R-Y. Well, how is the wording different? Oh, because it says it that way. So we're gonna do if a source you control. Aether Revolt. Angrath's Marauders. Sure, it's kind of expensive, but like a lot of this is kind of stuff we don't mind just ending up in the bin because of other choices we've made. Whenever a non-creature spell you can... nope. I only care about doubling and tripling. Far Fortune. So like this +1 and +2, I'm not a fan of. Obaj cares about... What's funny? None. That's non-combat damage, so I don't... Although I guess technically that's good, but I want all of our damage, even though a lot of our damage is non-combat damage. None of this affects our sleeper agents because they're not sources we control. But it's funny how it will affect other people discarding lands to Land's Edge, because Land's Edge is a source we control. I like how these are just creatures. Even though... Oh, it does say sacrifice a land. Sacrifice a creature. Like, this beast should go in burn, like Vexing Devil. And these are technically pieces of removal. Even if they're not very good, they're still removal. They call this drain, but they are in fact burn because we're not gaining life from it. Let's be real, people. We're counting it as burn. We're counting that as burn. We're counting that as removal because our we're going to count that as burn. We're counting the actually Palantir probably will be card draw after a while. And we're going to call we'll leave those three there. So we're going to search for other things that are similar. That much life instead. Is that what it said? Yes, it did. That's us gaining. That's us gaining. That's a... What's funny is that I'm like, oh, I don't want to put the 40k cards with regular Magic the Gathering cards because I think the decks are perfect. But I have no problem mixing in the Doctor Who cards. I don't know if that means I have a higher or lower opinion of the Doctor Who decks. If a spell or ability would cause its controller to gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Reign of Gore. Tainted Remedies like that only cost one more mana, but no red. We're not doing either of those. Or this. Okay. Whoops. Equal to the life. I don't remember the rest of okay, so well there's Wound Reflection. We can pay into Warlock class. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses life. Well, that might be a thing. Look at the top 3 cards of our library, put one of them in my hand, the rest in the graveyard. And then at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Oh, that's steep. I don't think we're going to do that. Herborg Siphon Mage, Tormented Hero. Nope. Subversion is awfully overpriced. Oh, wow. Soul Gorger Org. When Soul Gorger Org comes into play, you lose all but 1 life. When Soul Gorger leaves play, you gain life equal to the life you lost when it came into play. That's wild. Someone probably has a sweet combo around this nonsense. Us gaining life equal to the life lost this way is probably going to be a lot of these cards, so we just got to ignore those. Minion of the Wastes? Huh, that's interesting. You can pay any amount of life, and that's its power and toughness. Malakir Bloodwitch. That's, nope, that's a drain effect. No. Nope, no Exsanguinate. That's funny. The Chancellor of the Draws. Huh. Ah, there we go. Blitzwing, Cruel Tormentor, Random Robot, teamed up with Xantcha. Flying. Your opponents can't gain life at the beginning of each end step. They lose life to the life they lost that turn. So that's another one of them. It's a $30 card. It's also super expensive. Okay, so now we're going to look for decent Madness cards. But also nice. So we want Pry It From Our Cold Dead Hands. Shouldn't exist, but we're using it anyway. The Rakdos Signet. Talisman of Dominance? Let's see if I guessed correctly. No, I did not. That is that one. Talisman of... Our favorite game, guessing to see if I can figure out... Oh, Impulse. Nope. That's that one. I give up. Indulgence. I didn't even see the word, if I'm being honest. So, that's 4 pieces of ramp. That's obviously not enough. Sorry. Just scratching my ears again. Mind Stone. Thought Vessel. I know there's a lot of, like, rituals in these 2 colors, but I don't like my ramp to be impermanent. Four more pieces, huh? We'll get into it after we do this. Is this the... I guess this is the last section. Oh, wait. Since we do have this sub-theme of discarding our own cards, I believe it's Nightmare Adept? Yep, it's in Recursion. Discard a card. You may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. Activate only once each turn. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until your next turn. Chainer is his own sweet deck. You know, for Madness stuff. Like, there's a lot of cards in here that I would call not good, or even actively bad. But honestly, I really like this deck. It's dumb, but it's kind of cool. This is definitely one of my favorite decks that we've done for the show. No. Oh, Anji Falconwrath. Whenever you discard a card, if it had Madness, discard a card, draw a card? Sure. I was just thinking about her, too. Like, after I put in the Madness stuff, maybe I should put in Anji Falconwrath. But there she is. She gets to go right in the deck. Her Ravager attacks each combat if able. But we have to discard our hand, so that's probably a little much. Archfiend of Spite, sure, costs 7, but it has Madness for 5. Whenever a source an opponent controls, deal damage to Archfiend of Spite. Oh, I like Archfiend of Spite. That it reminds me of Phyrexian. Oh no, it's not Obliterator. Is it Obliterator? It's 4 solid black pips. Actually, this is a cross between the white one and the black one, because the white one is it prevents that damage and then deals that much damage to another target, and the black one is they have to sacrifice that many permanents equal to the damage. And while this one doesn't prevent that damage, it does kind of do the two. It does do the 2 effects, so that's cool. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, I draw a card and lose a life. I'm fine with that. Because it's also madness for its exact same casting cost. Avacyn's Judgment. Huh. It's an X-Spell if we madness it, but we're not going to do that. Big Game Hunter. When Big Game Hunter enters the battlefield, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Ooh, it also has a sweet madness cost of 1. We like that. All creatures get -2/-2 until end turn. Nah. Brain Gorgers is the whole reason why we're here. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. That's fine. I'm pretty sure we didn't have a whole lot of creatures in this deck. And as you notice, I'm trying to stick to permanents. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, if you have no cards in hand, it deals 2 damage to any target. And then Madness saves us. Sure. Anyone who doesn't know me doesn't know that I actually am bad at keeping cards in hand. Probably because I don't have good card draw in any of my decks. Oh, let's be mean to everyone. When this enters, we take the initiative. Let's just annoy everyone. Oh, Madness 0. It's not exactly good, but I don't care. I really don't. We're not putting Emrakul in the deck, for the record. That card can stay over there. Return a black creature from our graveyard draw hand. Nah. Curse of Fool's Wisdom. No. That's amusing, but no. Destroy a non-black creature. See, this is definitely like the Madness kind of thing, where destroy non-black creature for 6. No, that's absolutely stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever. But paying 1 for it because we discarded this card, that's cool. We're still not doing it, and I need to calm myself down. I'm like really excited by this deck, I guess. Falcon Wrath Gorger. Each vampire card you own that isn't on the battlefield has Madness. Okay, we're not playing vampires, but that's neat. Oh, I like this. It's not good if you just hardcast it, but if you have Madness, it's Lightning Bolt. I like it. But it's not going in the deck. I just think it's neat. Each player has a cup. No zombie tokens. Incorrigible Youths. It has haste and Madness, sure. Ichor Slick. Ichor Slick is interesting because it has Cycling Ed Madness. So for 3, target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. That's awful. But for 2, you can discard this and draw a card. I just realized, like, just now, that cycling is clues, but as cards you discard. Roast me in the comments. But then if you pay another 3 and a black on top of that, you can cast this anyway. I still don't think that's good. That's probably a sweet, like, limited thing you could do, I guess. Hell Mongrel, discard a card. Hell Mongrel gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I like that kind of on principle. Grave Scrabbler. It's a 2/2. Enters. Oh, and if you cast it for Madness, you get to bring something from your graveyard back to your hand. Or someone's graveyard back to their hand if you don't want to choose yourself. I like that. Gorgon Recluse blocks my non. So this thing murdifies non-black creatures in combat. So we like that. I'm just gonna click that ahead of time. We're probably gonna be taking a bunch of stuff out because I have a feeling I have a feeling that we're going to get close to 100, and probably going to have more creatures than we really care about. Flying Hates Madness. Okay, I like that. They attack each combat if able. That's fine. Whatever. Some of these less good ones will probably go away. Gain control. Convoke. That's also vampire stuff. We don't care. Muck Drub. Oh, that is interesting. When Muck Drub enters the battlefield, change the target spell that targets only a single creature to Muck Drub. We're not doing that, but I do think that's a good card. No, because those aren't permanents. Oh, Necrogoyf. Equal the number of creature cards in all graveyards. But it makes everyone discard a card, and I'm not about that life. If this was a mono black deck, that assassin would be better. Destroys a tapped creature. We might come back for these instants and sorceries. You know what? The regular cost and the madness are the same, but like they're less good. Trample. Revolutionist enters the battlefield. No, because like right now we're not having a whole lot of instants and sorceries. Shadow Grange Archfiend. Oh wow, Madness 3 plus paying 8 life. Good googly moogly. Enters the battlefield. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. Oh, and then you gain life. Okay, equal to the greatest power. I see. Okay, so that's actually kind of worth it. As long as this doesn't get countered. As long as it's your turn, this thing's slightly bigger. Oh, we failed to save changes. I wonder how far back that went. Scroll to top. Control X that. Architect, I don't know why you don't like me. Give it a second. How about now? There we go. Gorka Morka. Oh, well, now we're at the end. Okay, so that was the last thing. Scuffos, Ravager, or Reaver, whatever. Stesnia Masquerade. Attacking creatures you control at first strike. That's already good, and on the off chance. And, you know, it's worth it for the first half. And I'm sure we have a non-zero number of vampires in this deck. We'll just have to look. Enchanted creature, protection from white, we're not worried about that. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of our library. Okay, that's the kind of, we need to play in our second. Destroy target creature. Actually, that's the first sorcery, non-permanent. Also, I love this art. Twins of Muir and State, Madness 2, or Madness for 3. Violent Eruption, 4 damage divided in 1 case you choose on any number of targets. Then if we sacrifice 3 other creatures, this 3/3 with flying turns in... Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Weirded Vampire, Madness, okay. So if we go here, whoops. So we're actually at 99, okay. Categories, I don't know why I did that. If we go by type, we have 43 creatures, so we're probably going to take out some creatures. Let's go to categories, please. Fart, okay. Edit category. Madness. We want Madness to be... we're just going to move you over there. Select all. Let's find the Madness category. You have Madness. I just want to see how many cards with Madness we put in this deck. We have a discard section, even though we're not supposed to be about that. Oh, it's because we're doing our own discarding. This Worm, Madness. Gorgeable Youth has Madness. That's going into burn. Kitchen Imp has Madness. 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 That's probably going to be one of the first cuts because that is awful. Stormkirk. Yep. Is there a version of her that isn't foil? I don't know what secret layer this is. I guess it hasn't been released yet. But this is one of the greatest Magic the Gathering cards I've ever seen in my entire life. Even though it doesn't explain anything that she does, but look at the look on her face. She is not happy to be here. Oh, I don't even like vampires. Oh, that just... Seeing that art has brightened my day, everybody. Madness. 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 Things with madness. I do like Terminal Agony. Once I'll probably auto those back to wherever they're supposed to go. I'm just counting. I just want them all in the same place. So what is that? That is 21. I mean, that's good and all. And honestly, I kind of forgot if there was anything else I wanted to put in this deck. There's still that mystery thought that just vanished into the ether. We got Chainer here. Like, Chainer... Like, in all honesty, Chainer should be the lead of this deck. And this should be a completely different deck that's good. Oh, anything in here with madness? Part of me feels like some of the Decepticons should have madness, but, like, I understand why they didn't put it on it, because that would be unnecessary complication. I do like all of these. An opponent may do something, and if they don't, something else happens. Yep, that goes in burn as well. technically this is, for me, this is burn again. Although I guess not. It is more of a discard outlet. Let's go here. Let's make this a grid. So we're at 99. We can have one. We could just add one more card and be done. And maybe that's what I want to do, just to do less thinking. If we go stacks, we go to type. But we have like 43 creatures. That is like 20 more creatures, give or take, than I normally put in a deck. And a lot of these aren't very good. You know, like even by the standards of the deck, this deck isn't good. Some of these creatures are not good. So let's go to, well, let's go over here, see if there's one more card in Madness. Because maybe we want more. Maybe we want more things that do something else. This, yeah, you know what? I think I am gonna scroll back to top. I'm gonna take out all the weakest, like, Madness cards. So let's go down here. Oh, you have Madness. So we had 22 Madness cards. Did I miss any other Madness cards? Let's scroll back to the top, because how did we get here? Oh, these are our land. We're fine with our land choices. Anything below the Madness? Oh yeah, we still want more ramp, but I don't know what we're going to do for ramp. Oh, do you know what'll be we are going to look at the EDH Rec stuff, because that is fun to me still. Oh, sack outlet, and you also have Madness, so I'm glad I went down here. What is? Hold on. Mute to sneeze. That's the new podcast features you get with this mic. Blazing Root Walla, kind of a garbage card, even if it's cheap. Silent Visitor, I like that I think that's called a blade. And also, if someone else is as bad as Magic as I am about drawing cards, I get to draw cards with a Silent Visitor. Big Game Hunter can destroy big creatures. This thing can get bigger as long as it deals damage to stuff. No thanks. As long as our turn. No, that's also kind of bad. Attacking creatures having first strike is still good. This is draw-ish. And it has trample, so it might actually do that. Oh, sacrifice an artifact or creature to go to creature. I feel like that's still kind of in our wheelhouse, because we can, like, if Chainer's out, we can always discard another creature to cast something back. We're not making a whole... Oh, that's Crown of Madness, not actually Madness. Boy, I'm glad I noticed that. So, there we go. Enters or attacks. If we have no cards in hand, this deals 2 damage to any target, and it's a 4/4 for 4. Or a 4/4 for 3. I still think that's fine. Brain Gorders is a different part of this deck, you know, because it's other players' choice. Grave Scrabbler. If we Madness it, we can bring a creature from our discard pile to our hand, so that's good. This is a discard outlet for us if we have no other discard outlets. For what it's worth. Attacking each combat if able. Nah. Kinchin Imp has flying and haste. That I actually think the flying part is what's saving it. Destroy target creature. What's nice about Madness is that it gets around timing restrictions, so this is an instant if we discard it for any reason. Weirded Vampire. That's I like that as long as at least one of our opponents isn't playing black, this is at least a good blocker. Haste, is that good enough? Is Trample good enough? That's not good enough. I just think this is neat. I don't know how often we'll actually transform it, but we can make an opponent discard stuff, and it has flying. Flying is good enough. And then that's a good high-end thing. You know what? I'm going to give up the Worm and the Youths. So we now have 14 Madness cards. I would have liked 15, but that's just... that might just be autism talking. No, cannot confirm nor deny. So going back to stacks. Select all. Just auto them back to where they were. Oh, seeing if... nope. Oh yeah, goats. Man, that makes the goats look... oh, that's because it's goats from that set, not goats from, like, Eldraine or anything. But that makes the goats look super cool. Let's look at the... sorry, it's just... this goat says cuss words. And, like, smokes cigarettes. That goat is a bad influence. Anyway, oh, so we have room for 10 more cards now. I'm going to move this over to discard just because I don't like Anthem being between Commander and before she was famous. Because it's just as much of a discard card as this one. It really isn't. What was that one again? It's sort of draw. Okay. Well, last 10 cards. This stuff is fun. Oh, actually, really quick. Type. 34 creatures. That's the amount of creatures I put in a creature typal deck. So what kind of artifacts? Felwar Stone, Solum, yeah. This is for our ramp. Uh, like Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots. Nope, not interested. Stuffy Doll reminds me of a thing that I do want to put in here. We could add in Felwar Stone. Again, so that's, darn it. What's our ramp now, like 8? And we would like minimum of 2 more pieces. Although this is kind of expensive for ramp. I don't like Commander Sphere. I like how Wayfarer's Bauble is cheap now. But, like, the total mana even over to... oh, Bloodthirsty Blade. That actually is in kind of the wheelhouse of the deck. Oh, because then we can attach it to Xantcha, because she's superior goated anyway. Or we can attach it to the sleeper agent. I like it. See, EDH Rec sometimes has good ideas. Each player draws a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card. Stuffy Doll. Stuffy Doll has to choose a player. And it costs 5. I'll think about it. But there's another creature. Okay, I can see where they're going with Carter Doomscourge. But Branch Taunter is the thing we were thinking about. Stormfist Crusader is kind of like that other thing. Oh! Alexios, yes. Can't attack its owners. I can see where they're going with Karavik. That's in the same vein as this. But we're not here to punish people for doing stuff. We just want people to make choices. Though I do like Karzikar, the Eye Tyrant. We don't really want to do the goading, but I like the whenever an opponent attacks another one of your opponents, you and them draw a card and lose a life. Kind of see where they're going with that. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent. Whenever go to creature attacks. I think we will do Stuffy Doll. No. I can see where they're going with Scrawling Crawler, again, like I said. And up here, Stormfist Crusader. And then Lord of Pain. They're actually missing another creature that I realize I want to put in this deck. Close this really quick. What is his name? It's not this thing, I just like its name. Assaultron Dominator. Oh, it's from Fallout. That is a sweet name. Flame War. Sacrifice another artifact. That's not it. It's Slicer. We want Slicer in this deck. Because Slicer is like that Assassin's Creed card we put in a second ago. There we go. What kind of enchantments? Oh, what are we at? Oh, Phyrexian Arena, of course. 96. Oh, yeah. That's a piece of card draw, sort of. It's not great card draw, but it's card draw. we're not doing any of the impetuses. Because we're not going to goad stuff. Captive audience is giving our opponent stuff. Life total becomes 4. Discard your hand. Each opponent gets a thing. No. Descent into Avernus. Painful Quandary. 5 life or discarding card. Yep. Black. You know what? Black market connections. Sure. Oh, other players making a choice. They can either take 2 damage or sacrifice a creature. This is what I like to call the Torment of Hailfire exception to hand attacks. Because, like, you could discard the card if you want. You've made the choice. Or you can do 5 damage to you. Take 5 damage. Instance. Oh, Chaos Warp. Yeah, we should probably do that. Artifact creature or planeswalker. It's a little expensive. Although I do like the card because it's artifact, creature, or planeswalker. What are we at? Oh, we're at 101. You know what? Think all these finishers. These are not finishers. They finish nothing. Anyway, I think Chaos Warp is going to go out. Because we have all these... we have these 15 removal pieces. So they're not great removal. I love this deck. This deck is bad and dumb, but in all the ways that I like it. We managed to get up to 8 pieces of ramp. These are not finishers. I guess Alexios is kind of a finisher because once it gets back to you, as long as because someone's going to remove it, but if someone doesn't, then at least, you know, on your turn you can attack with it. What's funny is if you attack with this, it does do commander damage. That's funny. It's our commander doing commander damage even though someone else controls it. There's probably other cards in that vein that I missed. If you can think of cards for this deck, please put them in the comments. Because honestly, I'll probably... Because, like all of this madness stuff, I know I'm going over my burn, was just because of, like, I decided I wanted Land's Edge in the deck as well. Like, I could take that whole section out, including Chainer, if I could get enough cards to go back into the opponents doing stuff on our behalf. So, yeah. Please, if you have suggestions, go for it. So that's this deck. I love this deck. This deck is awesome. It's awesome, even though it's bad. This is exactly why I like building decks. Anyway, let's name this deck Poor Life Choices. I like that name for this deck. What's the win con? We let our opponents choose what happens, more or less. Save those changes. This is practically. I feel like this is practically bracket 1, but it's. Uh, but since it does technically have one extra turn spell. So the second deck I accidentally built all the way through, but we'll take a look at it. Kill some time before we get to our third deck. So the primary commander is Orca, Siege Demon. She's a 7 mana creature. That is wild. I believe she's one of the not Lost Legends, because that's what they called the cards from the Legends set put into collector's boosters. But it's Legends Retold, I think it was. Where they took all the old vanilla Legends from that set and remade them. I'm a huge fan of that. So I think this is generic Rakdos, like what I said the previous deck was going to be, only even more, because that turned out not to be generic Rakdos stuff. That was just, let's build this funny bad deck. So she's 7 mana for a 5/5 with trample. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on her. When she dies, it deals damage equal to her power, divided as you choose among any number of targets. That's sweet and all, but that is expensive. So we have a list of alternate commanders. Mogis, God of Slaughter. You might have remembered him going into... I was just checking something really quick. Going into the other deck. 4 mana for a 7/5, indestructible, but it's not a creature unless you have Devotion. That's total pips in play of 7 between red and black. And then your opponents either take 2 damage or sacrifice a creature. Nicholas, the reason why I scrolled up a second ago is to make sure I didn't have the 2-card infinite combo. Because they put it in the same set. That's so dumb. 4 mana for a 4/3 flying trample. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, we put a +1/+1 counter on Abi Nyx, and we exile the top card of our library until our next end step, which is the turn we did it, or the end of our next turn if it happened on an opponent's turn. You may play that card. There's a card called All Will Be One. That says whenever you put up, I think +1/+1 counter specifically on something, it deals 1 damage. So it goes infinite with the Ob Nixilis, and that it's in the same set. Like, that was so ridiculous. And then we have Valgavoth, another 4 mana. Look at all these things that are so much cheaper than the one that I picked. Flying Ward, pay 2 life. Whenever an opponent loses life for the first time on each of your turns, Valgavoth gets a +1/+1 counter, and we draw a card. So that's neat. Torwaki the Younger, another of the Legends Retold. If another source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player, and deals that much damage +1 to that permanent or player instead. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Torwaki the Younger deals 2 damage to any target, and which is really 3 because of his own ability. And he's a 3/3 for 5 with reach and lifelink. And he has lifelink. Yeah. So now we have our draw package, Black Market Connections. I don't know if I actually went over what it did. And any of the other decks that I put it in. Sorry, nose is still stuffy. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose 1 or more. Pay 1 life to get a treasure token, pay 2 life to draw a card, or pay 3 life. Technically you're not paying because it doesn't say pay. Hold on. I just wanted to clear out my nose. You're losing the life, and there's probably a mechanical difference that's important. And you get a little 3/2 changeling, shapeshifter with changeling, so it's every creature type. Phyrexian Area, during your upkeep, you draw a card and lose a life. Underworld Connections, which is a card I discovered. It's basically Phyrexian Arena, but you have to do it on purpose, and technically it costs 1 mana because you have to enchant a land to do it. Erebos, God of the Dead. It's 1 and a black and 2 life to draw a card, and your opponents can't gain life. And it's indestructible, but it also you also have to have Devotion to Black equal to 5, otherwise it's not a creature. Then over here we put stuff that's indestructible. Phylactery Lich, 3 solid black pips for a 5/5. It's indestructible, but as it enters the battlefield, we have to put a phylactery counter on an artifact you control. If we do not control any permanents with a phylactery counter, we have to sacrifice the Lich. That is super flavorful on how Liches are. This is the most playable Lich in the entire game. Then Vashta Nurada. Sorry, I missed an A in there. It's a 3 for a 1/1 alien horror. It's indestructible, but it only has shadow, or also has shadow, which means it can only block or be blocked by creatures with shadow. And then at the beginning of each end step, if a creature died, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Barbed Servitor, basically have to kill it twice. It's 4 mana for a 1/1 with indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, you suspect it, which means... Dang it. Hold on. If I edited my videos, I could cut out that dead air, but... so it means it has menace, which means you have to block it with at least 2 creatures to block it. And it can't block itself, which is interesting. Kind of. That part is interesting. If it's a suspect, it can't block. Whenever Barbed Servitor deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and you lose a life. So there's a little bit of card draw on it too. When Barbed Servitor is dealt damage, you know what's funny is I thought this was a different creature before I started reading it. Now I realized that I was confusing it with a different creature from the same set. When it is dealt damage, target opponent loses that much life. So that's cool. So it's a variation on the Brash Taunter, which we put in a previous deck but didn't explain. It's 5 mana for a 1/1 indestructible goblin. When it is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. And then you can pay 3 and tab it to have it fight stuff. And then here's our land package. This one has the Cabal Coffers, I guess. I decided I wanted to be able to throw down a lot of black pips. Which means... Oh, there's snow-covered lands in here too. That is an interesting choice I made. I put this deck together a long time ago. And there's our good friend Urborg. Oh! That's why. Do you see Pestilence Control and Pestilence? I see where I'm going with here, and I'm willing to bet there's some... There we go. I think I mentioned Pyrohemia when I was talking about... Or maybe I meant to and I didn't. But Pyrohemia's red Pestilence. We'll get to that when it's time to get to it. Life Gain, Death Touch, Basilisk Collar. You know, puts stuff like that on Barbed Servitor, Brash Taunter, or even Torwaki the Younger. Same with the Shadow Spear. That's why I combined these 2 sections. Whip of Erebos gives all of our creatures lifelink. It does some other stuff, but it doesn't really matter. That's not why we have it. Bloodthirsty Conqueror. Whenever an opponent loses life, we gain that much life. That's another thing where I had to be very careful not to put in the 2-card combo. You know the other half. It's Sanguine Blonde. We did not put that in the deck. But Bloodthirsty Conqueror and Exquisite Blood, we gain life when opponents loses life. But we did not put in the part where opponents lose life when we gain life, because we don't want to win like that. Palace Siege, that gets... Technically, we'd use it for cons to get creatures back on our turn from our graveyard to our hand. But I guess... Do I have a recursion section? No, I don't. So I'm not doing any of the other things. So I guess Palace, the Dragons have was more important. And then Archetype of Finality. Our creatures get Death Touch. Opponents' creatures lose and can't have Death Touch. Protection, Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, Darksteel Plate, Magebane Armor, if you remember from the Pestilence deck to prevent non-combat damage. Darksteel Plate and Mithril Coat gives the thing it's equipped to indestructible. Okay, I see this deck now. This deck is basically the Rakdos version of my Pestilence deck, but with way less ways to protect myself, which is why I definitely need the Platinum Empyrean and life gain. You can just go back to the Orzhov deck to get all the Pestilence cards, but they do 1 damage to each creature and each player. That's what everything in there does. And this is red version that sort of does the same thing, I guess. If a source you control... Oh, this is a twist. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature, it gets -1/-1 counters instead. That gets around opponents having indestructible stuff. Screaming Nemesis. Whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player's dealt damage this way, they cannot gain life for the rest of the game. That's horrifying. Then there's Pyrohemia. That's just, again, that's... It's Red Pestilence. The Mayhem Dominus for the double R non-combat damage. I'm surprised we don't have City on Fire or Fiery Emancipation in the deck, but I guess we decided not to go that way. Chandra's Incinerator. It costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. It has Trample, and then whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to a target creature or planeswalker that player controls. That's neat. Then removal. We have Lightning Bolt because it does non-combat damage, and that might be important. Mirrodin Avenged. You might remember that. And You Are Already Dead from the other deck. Destroy a creature that was dealt damage. Vandal Blast to destroy artifacts. Smelt to destroy an artifact. Shattering Spree to destroy 1 or more artifacts. Rage the FC as a combat track or to destroy an artifact. Cast Down destroys non-legendary. Go for the Throat destroys non-artifact. Heartless Act destroys something that has no counters on it, which is a hilarious non-bow with Soulscar Mage. Infernal Grasp destroys a creature, but we lose 2 life, and then Terminate destroys a creature, but it costs 2 different colors mana. And then, oh, there's 2 more pieces of ramp that I could have put in the other deck that I forgot about. The Diamonds. We're not going back. Are we not? We could go back to fix it. Hold on. History. Rakdos. You might have seen decks I was tinkering with. Some of those no longer exist because they didn't work out. That's another thing for anyone who actually watches and comments on my videos. What would you take out? Actually, I would take out Solemn. Even though land ramp is more stable. You know what that's called? That put itself in protection, but I'm just going to put it into burn because that amuses me so much. You know, looking at this deck, I could put some of the, not the Lich or Rashta, but I could probably remove something for Barbed Servitor. But, I like Brash's ability to fight stuff. Honestly, I could probably take out Brash Taunter because it doesn't fit in the deck that well. Okay, so let's... as much as I like Brash Taunter, let's take him out. What else? I was saying Solemn Simulacrum, but that's, you know, like I said, land ramp and card draw is a little bit better. But that's another thing you can put in the comments. What would you take out? Oh, I know. The Masquerade. There we go. I know attacking creatures having first strike is good, but maybe we're not attacking as much as I thought I would. So Charcoal Diamond and Fire Diamond. Hey, we did it. We got to 10 ramp pieces. Thank you, this other deck. Sorry. Just horribly. Then Magus of the Coffers. Now I see, you know, because of this. Too bad there isn't a version of that for red, because Pyrohemia is kind of... Oh, there is a card I could put in this deck. If it exists. I think it exists. So, oh. Fairly certain this card exists. Nope. Did I? Huh. MV equals 1. Initiate. No. It's a really old card. I forget what set it's from. MV equals 1. Power equals 1. Toughness equals 1. I know I'm super narrowing it down. C equals R. Super narrowing it down, folks, I know. Ain't enough Stormgold. It actually goes the other way. Darn. I thought this turned black mana into red mana. It would have been really cool if it did. Anyway, none of that is helpful. Expedition map to find Urborg or Cabal Coffers. I think you know the deal with that. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, 2 diamonds, Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Indulgence. Things that say our swamps tap for more stuff. And this thing can only tap from snow-covered swamps. And so there's no guarantee that this thing will ever do anything. But that's fine. But that's this deck. I could end this here. But I did... Oh, Monkey's Paw. Go back here. We want this. Where are you? Oh, you were right here. We want copy card names. No. Card names with quantities. So we can close this. We can close this. That was this deck. Which commander would you use for this deck? I don't think it matters. I think that was kind of the point I made it. I mean, Torwalkie actually is probably the best commander out of this list. Obs Nixilis is also pretty good. Like, Mogus and Valgavoth. No, Valgavoth, like, okay, Mogus and Orca are probably actually the least good for this. But all of them have an argument to be said for being the commander. But yeah, who would you run? That's another thing. People who watch this, please put stuff in the comments. Just like how would you do this deck difference? We'll call this one Pyro Pestilence. Ping down our enemies until we can take them out proper. There we go. It's not really a great sentence, but there. So, Rakdos 3. Oh, I already have the land set for this one. That's good. Put Arena and Glory in this one for some reason. Even though there's not really a need. Let's change this up. Select all. Delete. Import. Save. Close. Reset. R. Oh, I could have done the other way. That takes longer. Man, that is really good on the red one. She's from Murders from Karlov Manor, so let's look at their land. I don't know how many of them they had. Oh. Not really a fan of them, but that's just what... But since that's what set she's from, that's what we're going with. Being a set of everyone's wearing the same hat, it wasn't very popular, but I feel it had a bunch of good cards in it still. Even if the setting was kind of emblematic of a problem. Let's pretty up our commander with her wanted poster. Oh no, not wanted poster. That was cowboy hats. This is her dossier. Judith, Carnage Connoisseur. Some people don't like this one just because, like, the most of this deck is going to be pretty obvious. But since it's the third deck in the show, and we're like 10 minutes away from 2 hours, and I've been kind of wanting to get these things a little up there over 2 hours, so I don't mind that. So 3, a black and a red for a 3/4 human shaman. It's cool that she's a shaman. I feel like we don't have enough shamans. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose one. That spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink, and that's the part where people are like, oh, I know where this is going. This with Fire Song and Sunspeaker, like if you were doing made-up partners. Because that gives your red spells lifelink anyway, and your white spells that heal deal damage or something. I don't know. Judith is better though. Or you create a 2/2 red imp creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Owner and Star of Hellbender, a trendsetter in both fashion and violence. We love Judith in this house. We really want Judith to meet Kisa, even though they won't ever get along. So what do we want to do? We want to... Okay, let's get our... Oh. Let's... Boy. Oh. Ah. It doesn't have the other one I did today. Oh well. Soul Ring, pry it from my cold dead hands. Arc Signet shouldn't exist, but I'll use it anyway. Rakdos Signet. The most flavorful deck to put it in by far. Talisman of Indulgence. Charcoal, diamond, fire, diamond. Oh. Cold Steel Heart. It's basically an extra charcoal diamond or extra fire diamond, since you have to choose a color. Let's see. We have 20 basics, so let's go. Sad robot. The things he has seen. He isn't unhappy, or they are unhappy. Oh wow. I can't believe that hasn't been done yet. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's Secret Lair. Solum Sicrum Lacrum is the robot whose name I don't remember. Have they done that? Nope. Wizards, get on it. That one's free. That's a great idea. We're up to 8 again, and somehow we should have been up to 10. Let's open this and see what the 2-card difference is. Hello, Ramp, Soul Ring, oh, Felwar Stone, Mind Stone, and Thought Vessel. Okay. Okie dokie. You know, we'll put all of those in. Mind Stone. Thought Vessel. We could also give her the Iron Crag. And Felwar Stone. There we go. We definitely want to have mana. God dang it. Although this is one where rituals are actually a good idea now that I think about it. But permanent ramp is still a good idea. This is Charmbreaker Devils. This is 5 and a red. At the beginning, for a 4/4 devil, at the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand. And it gets bigger when you cast an instant or sorcery spell. But that don't matter. That's not the important part. Because we're going to be doing non-combat damage. Fiery Emancipation. City on Fire. Because I like this first part. And that's probably, again, the people who are critical of this deck are like, yeah, people are going to do that Death Touch and Lifelink, so we're going to get a lot of pyroclasmy effects that destroy everything. Like, it's... And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You are not wrong. We could lean into the 2/2 red imps, but we're not. We are going to take the easy way out. No, the Marauders, even though that's expensive. Anthem of Rakdos is funny. Whenever a source we control deals damage to us. Huh. The problem is that she, huh. Boy, anti-blight should have gone in that other deck. Because we can do it one at a time, so she's always staying one step ahead. And it's not in my history. Or maybe it is in my history and it's because I looked at this goat. Nope. Let's look at my decks. Pyro Pestilence, there we go. Auntie. She is a bad influence. But what do we take out? That is always the question. I don't know where she went. Is she in Burn? Where is she? Ah, she's in removal. That makes sense. You know what? We're going to get rid of Lightning Bolt because it's too basic. There we go. If we were doing damage to ourselves in the Xantcha deck, I would love to put anti-blight in there. And you know what? She's cool enough that I'm gonna. Nope, she doesn't have any. She doesn't have any cooler printings. That's sad. Get on that too, Wizards. Each creature, each player. Each creature, each player. So there's 11 things that kind of do that. Oh, technically we have one that does that with the, and the other one if we want to count Land's Edge. Okay, so that's, we did that, and she's not going in this deck because we're not doing damage to ourselves. Chandra's Incinerator can go here because you always make this so easy, Architect. Again, you're lucky you're pretty. Chandra's Incinerator. Giant Source. Ding. Fear of Burning Alive. You know, we'll Fear of Burning Alive. By the time it comes out, maybe. If a source you control dealt 5 or more damage this turn, we can get a dragon. No. That only cares about odd things, odd mana value things. Torwalkie is pretty cool. Okay, that's Yeah, I'm fine with that. We're going to put you... I guess you count as removal. We'll have to do proper removal soon as well. We're also going to want more creatures, because if we do this, go by type, we have 6. And I know we'll probably be creating creatures of a bit of a sort, but I think we still should want some creatures in this deck. Besides that, let's put in our stuff to protect our commander. Sweeboo, Lig Greaves. Good old. The thing I like about Mithril Coat is that it auto equips. You just have to wait until you cast your thing that you want to put it on first. We probably would want like more things to give it hexproof and indestructible, but then we're taking away from the core of the deck, really. Let's see. So we have... Oh, what are the endurings? Enduring? The courage gives haste. That makes opponents lose life. Again, we got to be careful with that. Since we have... we'll do the opposite of that last deck, and we're going to do the Enduring Tenacity. So, whenever you gain... Alright, because I don't... Is it... Did they do it with 2 words? We need a colon right there. And it is 1 word. Whenever you gain life, this thing gets a +1/+1 counter. See, we gotta make sure we don't put this in. So we only want this. Gain or lose life. That's completely, whenever you gain life, it gets 1. We want Sanguine Blonde. Huh. Whenever you gain life, put a feeding counter on Nazar, the Velvet Fang. Whenever Nazar attacks, you may remove 3 feeding counters from it. If you do, you draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Now we're not doing that, but that was just interesting to read out loud. Right? Whenever you gain, target opponent loses that much. Yep. Oh, Well of Lost Dreams for card draw. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. I'll think about that. But yeah, that's that. But that also reminds me that we want Phyrexian Arena. We want Black Market. Oh, regular Black Market in those other decks would be funny. You put a like a counter on it each time a creature dies, and then you get an amount of black mana. Yeah, here we go. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add a black mana for each charge counter on it. That should have made its way into both Pestilence and Pyro Pestilence. I'm not gonna do that now, but that is a thing that I can do after I'm done recording, because that's funny. That's some hilarious ramp. And about 6 more cards I'm going to start considering. That's where I'm going to put like 30 instants and sorceries in this deck. Oh, what was that land? T. Land. O. Draw. Wait, no. Enchant land. Okay, I farted. Let's just go enchant land. I mean, I brain farted. Jeez. Oh, Caustic Tar is expensive but neat. Contaminated ground turns anything to a swamp. But also, if they try to use it, they lose 2 life. Discreet Retreat for outlaw spells. That's interesting. Evil Presence turns something into a swamp but doesn't do anything bad. Blighted Lithiform Blight. Actually, Lithiform Blight technically is good. Because you can use, because it's a source of colorless if you care about that. But then you can also pay a life for a mana of any color. Oh, Noxious Field. I wonder if this land deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. I wonder if that made it into the decks. It probably didn't make the cut, since it can only be done once. There we go. Underworld Connections. So now we have three pieces of card draw. Sweet. Totally awesome. Totally not anemic. Totally shouldn't be like 10 more cards. I am going to hit up EDH Rec really quick for artifacts, just to see if Bolus the Citadel, I see where they're going with that. Aetherflex Reservoir, I see where they're going with that. Oh, Ashton's Altar, I do see where they're going with that. I see that more than anything else. Ruby Medallion, but not Jet Medallion. That's interesting, actually, that they value the red more than the black. Oh, because with this we can sacrifice those devils for mana. Creatures. Yep, Stormkiln. I get it. Oh, Harmonic Prodigy. Thank you. That. Ooh. I was talking up Shamans, even though this is a wizard, but it boosts Shamans. See, that's good, because then we can get both of the things off of Judith. Stormkiln, yeah. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Sedgemoor Witch, because it gets us little derpy creatures. Young Peasy also gets us little derpy creatures, and like I said, I wanted some number. Lord of Pain, opponents can't lay in life. Create or sacrifice a token. The bats are good. Like, we're not doing these extra steps cards. These burn with extra steps. He does have lifelink, and that is cool. But we'll see if where we can get without him. Okay. And then that's all we're going to look at. I was going to look at instants and sorceries, and I realized that was the thing I definitely wanted to do on my own. Let's go by type. We're up to 13 creatures. That is not enough. I would like 7 more, but let's do my instant and sorcery section. Oh. Let's see. And now I'm going to try searching by tag. Ritual. Is that a thing? No. Is ritual? That probably isn't anything either. O tag? Aha! Okay. So we have Apex of Power. That is interesting. It's for 7 red. Exile the top 7 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among them. If this was cast from your hand, you get 10 mana of any one color. We're going to put in Dark Ritual. I'm just going down here. We're putting in Desperate Ritual. I don't know if we'll have any other arcane spells, but these are ways to get more mana and then also get Devils. Dragon Rage, that's attacking creatures. Geosurge, but that only casts artifacts or creature spells. Infernal Plunge, we have to sacrifice a creature for it. That's actually what we want. Inner Fire, I've already said I'm bad at keeping cards in my hand. Explosive Welcome, I actually do like that. I feel like Explosive Welcome is also like the opening act for Judith. Ooh, Threshold to add that much instead. Okay, Cabal Ritual, I like that. Culling the Weak, sacrifice a creature to add 4 black, I like that. Dark Petition is a tutor, so don't really need that. I don't see. Battle Hymn is 1 red for each creature we control, but other than our theoretical devils, I don't know how many we'll have. We'll put an Apex of Power for now. Manicism? What? Oh, we can sacrifice lands for that. Mana Geyser for tapped lands our opponents control. Liturgy of Blood destroys a creature and then we get a rebate. Jessica's Will is a game changer. Iron Crag gives us 7 red, but we can only cast 1 more spell, so I'm not a fan. Open the Omen Paths gives us, gives us 4 mana, but we have to cast creatures or enchantments. We'll do Pyretic Ritual. Rite of Flame is not good in Singleton. Rousing Refrain. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. You don't lose this mana. Oh, and then it gets suspend. Okay. I like that. Especially in this deck. Seething Song. Scroll to the top. They say ramp. They probably put them in the ramp section, but I definitely want to put them in the ritual section. So let's add a category. Ritual. Create new category. Create category. Make that the primary category. There we go. Just I'm going to look into other arcane spells to see if they're any good, just to see if Desperate Ritual. Because you can pay 2 to reveal it from your hand, so you can keep it for later. It's really weird. Cabal Ritual. Infernal Plunge. So we have 8 strict rituals, because 1 is here and 1 the Apex of Power, it went into draw. Okay. T instant or T sorcery. Damage to each. I saw that in after I hit enter. Acidic Soil to each player for each land they control. That's wild. To each creature target player controls. Then they attack this turn if able. Oh, you know what I need to do? Order it by... We call it mana value, but I noticed that the tags never changed it from CMC. But they did the other one for mana value. Blazing Volley deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. See, and then we give it lifelink and death touch. Ha 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 ha. And then Bolt Wave, 3 damage to each opponent. Give it lifelink. Ha ha ha. We kind of want to avoid hitting ourselves. 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. Bing. That is just a superior Blazing Volley, but we play both. Fear Fire Foes. Okay, so that's one player. So it's X damage to 1 creature, and then 1 damage to each other creature they control. That's kind of neat. And what's funny is that it's still worse than this, because we have to pay 2 for it. Or we can do 0 damage to 1 creature and 1 damage to everything else. Did I cut my finger? Yeah. Not really a paper cut, but whatever. Fall of the Titans. Firestorm. We have to discard. 2 damage to each creature dealt damage this turn. That's not really needed. Mana Clash. No. Each creature without horsemanship. Horsemanship. I think I saw a card the other day that gave a creature a horsemanship. I don't remember if that was someone's custom card or an uncard. I honestly don't remember anything about it. I just thought it was funny because horsemanship is great. It was a horse that gave something horsemanship. I don't remember what I was looking at. Each attacking creature, each creature with shadow. That's neat. X damage to each creature without flying. And then it can also theoretically destroy all artifacts. And then it could also theoretically give us an 8/8 lizard. We're not doing that, but that is interesting. Each creature of the chosen color. That's still technically worse. Each opponent, each creature they control, it's a sorcery, because we don't need these to be instants, and none of them are. So technically this is the best version of it, because it also targets planeswalkers. This is the worst, because it doesn't damage the opponents, just their creatures. And then there's this one that deals damage to opponents and their creatures, but not their planeswalkers. Each creature without flying. Oh, that makes them discard a card. Caught in the crossfire. It can damage outlaws, non-outlaws, or both. That is weird. Oh, that's interesting if we were dealing with deserts. No. 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 Comet Storm. Choose any target, then choose another target for each time the spell was kicked. Comet Storm deals X damage to each of them. That is mildly interesting. I'd need to do the math on it, but I think I'd rather just cast Fireball at that point, I think. I'd have to look up Fireball. I don't know if Fireball has to divide the damage, or if it does it to each. It's been so long since I've even looked at Fireball. Ow. Crackle with powers a lot. Devastating Dreams. You have to discard at random. Flame Wraith feels 4 damage to each player. That's us too, not a fan. Although, I guess... Okay, see, now I just realized that I'm being... precious, I guess, with myself. Because if we give it lifelink, we gain the life back. So now I gotta go back up and go, hey, where was I being dumb? If it deals it to each player, I'm fine, but I don't want to deal damage to my own creatures. Mana Clash just feels like a waste of time. Okay, now we're caught back up. I didn't see anything else. To each white creature and each player who controls a white creature. Jeez. That's some classic color hate. Each creature and each player. Creature without flying in each player. If it was to each creature with flying, that would make me feel better. And I know we're going to have a bunch of creatures we want to die, but like we want them to not die by our own hand. Discard a card, draw 2 cards. Okay, so... Okay, grab the prize. As additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. If the discarded card wasn't a land, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Maybe. That's something we'll come back to. Equal the number of non-basic lands they control? That could be a lot. Price of progress. Wait. Maybe I hadn't seen it yet. Because wasn't there another one that was like equal to the number of lands they control? maybe I hadn't. Yeah, maybe that hasn't come up here, but I feel like. Okay, when we're done looking, we're definitely going to go back for that. Ooh, see, here we go. Hurly Burly. Each creature without flying or each creature with flying. We're not going to have a whole lot of flyers, I don't think. So I feel like this will be worth it. Up to 3 targets. Without flying and Planeswalker. Seismic Shudder. Creatures without flying again. One. We'll see, we're paying the extra one for Scry. We're not paying the extra one for Scry. Reckless Handling. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, and put it in your hand and shuffle. Then discard a card at random. If an artifact was discarded this way, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. That's kind of funny. Pyroclasm is worth it just even because it does an extra point of damage. Even though for the Death Touch half of our ability, that doesn't matter. But for the lifelink half, that matters. So, just scratching my nose a bit. I'm a man with irritated skin, I guess. Discard X cards. No. That's not worth it. No. No. Oof, no. No. Nope. Torrent of Love is interesting because we can pay 3 mana to deal 1 damage to all creatures without flying, and then tap our own creatures to prevent that damage. I think that's still more mana than I want to spend, but it did make me think about how interesting it was. There we go. Acidic Soil. That was the card I was thinking of. 1 damage to each player for each land here she controls. That's funny. Because I remembered that we'll be giving it lifelink. So we'll get the life back as long as we don't die. No. Barrage of Boulders deals 1 damage to each creature you don't control. But then if we control a big creature, creatures can't block. That's just not important in this one. 2 damage to non-dragons. Dragon's Approach deals 3 damage. Oh, this is the thing that can... Yeah, you can have any number of these. We're not doing that. Oh, Delayed Blast Fireball is just a good card. Each opponent and each creature they control. Or 5, if you foretell it. Evaporate. Non-pirates. We're not flipping coins. Flame Sweep, also not good. Feel the Flames. That's Gates, that's... each creature, Planeswalker, and battle. Not that that matters. People do not play a whole lot of battles. I can name a handful of battles that people play. And that's still a stretch saying a handful. Creatures without flying, destroy a land. Each creature, no. Oh, that's see. This is technically a hand attack. Each player shuffles the cards from his or her hand into their library, then draws that many cards. And then if you control 3 artifacts, which is no guarantee in this deck, this will do damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards they've drawn this turn. That is super interesting, but it goes against the spirit of not making people discard. Even though technically they are not discarding, the cards are just getting put back in their deck. Savage Alliance. Oh, this might be a 3-hour one just because I decided to do this deck. You know what? I like Rakdos enough that I'm that this super special long episode gets to exist. Nope. Choose a color? No. Without flying? No. 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 Nope. No, no. Oh wait, no. 3 damage to each opponent. No, we got that like way back in the beginning for way less. Oh, Siphon Soul is actually funny because then we since that's not lifelink, we can put lifelink on it. So we would gain 6 life, assuming everybody was still alive when we cast it. That might be worth it. That's funny as heck. So we'll do that. Each creature, each player. Gift a card. Nope. Draconic Intervention. I'm not even going to read that. Creeping Chill. That's like this, but one more mana and you gain less life from the card itself. Chain Reaction. Oh, the Chain Devil. I'll have to look at that because that's a creature that oh wait, no, that's a creature, so it doesn't work with our commander. I was in a different zone. We're going by CMC, right? Otherwise, I feel bad about how far we are. No. Oh, the Confluence might be good. Each creature, no. But 6 damage to each opponent. Yes, Fiery Confluence makes it in. Storm's Wrath? No. Oh, there is... Hold on. There is one that goes... What are we at? We're at 92. Mizium Mortars. It is a card that wouldn't come up in our search. Well, that's very interesting. The things that go into burn. Well, I guess it goes into burn because it only hits players. Anyway, where are you? Mizium Mortars. It's 4 damage to target creature you don't control, but we can overload, so it's each creature we don't control. That won't come up in this search because there's a bunch of things keeping those words apart. burn down the house, pay 5 for 3/1/1 devils and a 2/2 devil, suddenly makes it worth it. There's actually one card that you might have noticed I avoided putting into a lot of my red decks that's going to go into this deck because it's funny as all heck out. We're now into the really expensive stuff too. 5. I consider 5 mana really expensive, I guess. Ooh, Let the Galaxy Burn. I just like the name of the card. The Fall of Krug. You know what? Star of Extinction is totally worth it. Like, I don't normally, you see me avoid stuff that deals damage to my own thing. This isn't even the card that I was thinking about earlier. But, that's a lot of life gain. Call forth the Tempest. Double Cascade. This is kind of a storm thing. Not exactly storm. Oh, and it has Cascade. I get it. So for 5 and 3 red, Cascade, which means we get to cast 2 spells from our library that have mana value 7 or less. Yes. So we get 2 7 or less spells from our deck, and then those resolve first. Then this deals damage to each creature our opponents control equal to the total mana value of other spells we've cast this turn. That is a neat card. Volcanic Salvo. No. Blood for the Blood God. We're not doing that. But we are doing Blasphemous Act. There we go. How many cards? Oh, well, we still have room for 4 more cards. How many creatures do we have? We still only have 13. But we have 9 instants and 17 sorceries. Maybe at least 2 more creatures. Like, I know she makes creatures, but she needs to be alive. But we're also going to put in Dark Plate. Dark Steel Plate. Like, sure, we have to equip it manually. But, now we are going to search for non-combat. I don't actually need this because Ether Revolt, Chandra's Incinerator is in there. Oh, Magebane armor, yes. Forgot about that. Oh, what? But we only get one. One per creature that's dealt extra non-combat damage. Oh, this. to get around opponents having indestructible stuff. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Toralf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. Yes, we want that. And then we don't want to exile stuff. Torwalkie has lifelink, but he's going to get blown up by my own stuff occasionally. What does this do? Oh, Grizzly Sigil is just a weird card. Okay, so we are at, oh, we are exactly 100. I know I don't say this often, but if you have suggestions for the deck, think about it. Put them in the comments. We're up. Hey, we're up to 15 creatures where I wanted to be. Categories. This is exactly what everyone says this deck is, because I could have put any other kind of spell in here to lean into the gaining of creatures, but I didn't. Oh, the Roaming Throne. Now we'll have to take something out. Maybe the Underworld Connections. Yeah. Our draw is anemic because that's how I roll. You are not Drain. You are Burn. Although technically, we're not actually making a whole lot of these. So maybe I'll take out the bats instead. I wonder how many other humans I have. Oh, this has prowess too. So we could say human. Engrath's Marauders are, yeah, well that's not a triggered ability. But we can say human, so both Harmonic Prodigy and Judith can get double triggers. We could also say Charmbreaker Devils just to get multiple spells back on our things. Oh, but humans would also get double on these. Let's see. We're back at 99. We went all the way through everything I cared about. Let's check EDH Rec again, because it's always fun. Like, sometimes they remind me of things that's existing. Notice I don't go to Planeswalkers very often. Night's Whisper, no. 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 I could see wanting to do Mana Geyser. Oh. Mizzix's Mastery. But also I didn't put in Vandal Blast or Shattering Spree. Is this one of those I've decided that that's somebody else's problem kind of decks? I could take out Apex of Power. Nah. Yeah, Mizzix's Mastery. That's funny as heck. Though I guess well, at that point, I probably wouldn't give them all Death Touch and Lifelink, since that would make most of these things whiff. And we're kind of leaning in My opponents aren't allowed to have creatures. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Sorry. Ah ha ha. Ah ha ha. Ah ha 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 ha. Uh, and that's probably the part people have a problem with. So this is the laziest version of this deck. Like, if we go back, we'd probably get rid of a lot of these. Since we're basically playing, like, 14 board wipes, assuming our commander was in play. And that sounds oppressive for a deck that's estimated bracket 2. But with these three drain effects, we'd at least be winning the game. So, well, yeah, no, I like this deck. Though of the 3 decks I made, 2 on stream, 1 off stream because it was just in my head, I like Xantcha the most. You know what? I really should have said this in all other episodes. Which of these decks did you like the best looking at? I should have said that for every episode that I had more than 1 deck in, which is a lot of them. But oh well, starting from now, I guess. What do we... Jeez. I don't even know what I want to call this. Judith turned all our spells into life gain or extra creatures. Those extra creatures are like perennies. Oh, see, there's a token you should make, because perennies, they're not exactly devils because they're more like lost souls, but I still think that would be a good alternate token for any of the 1/1 devils that you get from other things, or her 2/2 devils. When they die. Rakdos, 3rd Rakdos deck. Unlisted. No longer private. Save. Close. Let's just use her name for the deck name because I can't think of anything better. Sometimes that's just what happens. Yeah, I'll see you next week when it's, it'll be Golgari, I think. Yeah, because it was, yeah, we did blue-green, so that was the last of blue. This is the first of black, and it's black-red, so black-green. Wow, we're almost, we're going to get a preview. We can move these two into past episodes for now. And then also that one. And then, of course, it loves to not... Yeah, so, wow, Golgari, then Gruul, and then we'll be on to Bant, the 3-color combinations. See? White, green, blue. Wow. This says it's only green, but that's because the only thing in it is the commander. And it doesn't... And its casting cost only has green. So, yeah, see you next week. This one went almost to 3 hours, but I'm not mad at that. I'm more mad at the ones that that were 15 minutes short of 2 hours. So, see you around.